welcome. I'm Philip Brossard, and here's what happened this week. Taiwan's waters are teeming with all sorts of coral species, and it's currently their spawning season. But how coral spawn is still very much a mystery. To understand this better, researchers are studying the conditions necessary for them to reproduce. Eric Gao takes a look.
As if responding to some unspoken signal, coral begin to spawn in the waters off southern Taiwan. Somehow, without any way to communicate, the coral release gametes all at the same time. Scientists don't know the mechanism, but they can predict roughly when it'll happen.
Usually, they spawn from 5 nights to 8 nights after full moon in April, May, June in Green Island.
The current theory? Scientists think the synchronized spawning has a lot to do with differences in light levels with the full moon and the dark period that follows. Scientists are now seeing if they can recreate these conditions artificially. But light may not be the only factor. Researchers think microorganisms that live in the coral could also play a major role.
这个珊瑚在沟通的时候产生的这些化学物质，很有可能是它的共生群协助它来制造的。
The waters around Taiwan are home to about a third of the world's coral species. While this research project won't show results for another 5 years, scientists hope that their findings will help shed some light on the mysteries of the local coral's reproduction. Andy Schreier and Eric Gao for TaiwanPlus.
Seafood culture is big in Taiwan, and so is concern about its disappearance because of pollution. An artist cared so much that he created a play based on his favorite seafood, oysters. What would the creatures say if they were able to express themselves? Our reporter Yujing Huang checks out the play, The Angry Oysters.
Pale figures slice open the theater's darkness, dragging their feet to solemn music amid oyster from poles. This opening scene of The Angry Oysters by one-player short ensemble almost looks like an elegy for the environment. It was first performed 10 years ago, but it's being restaged to keep the ongoing pollution problems before audiences. Playwright and actor Wei Junzhan was inspired by a trip to a fishing village in Taiwan's west coast. He was told by a vendor then that oysters, his favorite seafood, might no longer be safe to eat since factories were built around the area. So he wrote a contemporary fable to raise awareness of the environmental issue.
我们创造了一个魔幻的鹅啊的世界，然后让他们有自己的人际关系互动、权力关系，然后去影射出整个人类世界的各种，不管是金钱结构啊等等的各种决策。那同时，我们也会让整个人类的村庄被写实的扮演出来。对，但是呢，他们却活得如他们养的鹅啊一样生病。
The play portrays a critically thinking oyster that constantly questions its species' existence. It also presents a human world where villagers go on with their lives, facing an upcoming change with a sense of powerlessness. The human characters are all based on real people that the actors met in their field research. And every setting on stage is meant to bring viewers to the seaside villages of western Taiwan. Be it seashells brought from its shore, or the unique accent spoken by its people.
我觉得剧场是一个非常感官经验的东西，所以我们希望是带观众在这个议题里面去感受一个感官的旅程，去感受一个可能即将消失的，或者是被边缘化的、不被重视的一种渔村的气味。然后我希望这些环境的东西，或者是污染的议题等等，是刻进身体的。
While hoping to give more attention to polluted fishing villages, people involved in the show don't think this should be their only effort.
我基本上不会去期待观众看完一出戏就改变他的人生。演出这件事情，它比较像是你丢了一个石头到池塘里，你不确定它有可能就咚咚，然后就沉没了，但不能仅止于此啦，就还必须做点别的事情。
10 years after the show first premiered, the overall problems around water pollution are only getting worse, pushing the ensemble to come up with more ways to voice their advocacy. Soon, this renewed version of the Angry Oysters will be turned into an educational project, with books and workshops for children, so the pressing issues around the environment can become more approachable for the next generation. Rick Yi and Yujing Huang for TaiwanPlus.
Electric bikes are in high demand around the world. They're not only a healthy and easy way to get around, but are also good for the environment. Now, engineers in Taiwan have taken these e-bikes to the next level. Our reporter Sandy Chi has the story.
One of the oldest, cheapest, and most environmentally friendly ways to get around. Bicycles have had a revival in recent years, with new electric designs more popular than ever. But they still require electricity to power up. To make these vehicles even more sustainable, an engineering team from National Taiwan University has developed a self-charging system for e-bikes. From braking to pedaling, just about everything you normally do on a bike can now generate the power to keep it moving.
然后它是完全不用使用到电池，或是还要考量到是要常常充电的一个部分。
The charging system uses a nanogenerator, a type of technology that converts mechanical energy into electricity. The process for making it is cheap and eco-friendly.
技术就是透过材料相对的接触分开，它就可以发电。所以你可以把它想象成，它就可以把环境中的一个机械能，把它转为电能的一个技术。那所以我们其实就会把我们的这个元件整合在脚踏车上不同的地方。
The new design was also inspired by snakeskin. The materials contain keratin, a protein found in the skin's outer layer, which can help reduce wear and tear. The engineers say the technology could have other uses well beyond bicycles.
考量过是不是做到一个人体可能在一些关节它比较容易受损的部分，因为它的组成本来就是一个完全生物可相容性的一个组成，所以这在将来在生意上的发展应该也会蛮有帮助的。
With this new development, the engineers hope their breakthrough can not only benefit the environment, but also the medical field. Howard Zhang and Sandy Chi for TaiwanPlus.
The southern city of Tainan is trying to bring more visitors to one of his historic sites. But preservation laws mean there's only so much it can do. As John Van Trieste reports, officials are putting their hopes in tech to expand the site's appeal.
It's a nationally listed historic site, a spot with 100 years of history that changed the way people lived. But while it's open to the public, there's no line to get in. This is the old waterworks in the southern city of Tainan. Built in 1912, it's more than just a piece of disused infrastructure. It's an important part of Taiwan's story. The site represents the island's 50 years under Japanese colonial rule and its journey into the modern age. There are stories to be told here, and Tainan's government hopes more people will come to hear them. And to do this job, it's turning to augmented reality. Local officials have installed 25 QR codes for visitors to scan, so they can see how the site looked in its prime and how the machinery worked. The site's caretakers are hopeful these codes will bring in more sightseers.
有名的烟囱基座呢，我们也是透过那个文资处他们的资料考究，来还原出原本12层楼高的烟囱的样子。透过这一次的 AR， 我们也可以看到快滤桶它原本是怎么运作的，自在的透过有趣的小互动或者是简单的介绍来理解水稻博物馆究竟在做些什么。
So far, the reaction from visitors has been positive.
感觉很棒啊，就是可以看到以前看不到的一些建筑物的样貌，然后可以多了解一些这些建筑物的一些功能啊或设施。
The hope is to engage the public, so this piece of Taiwan's heritage can get a wider appreciation. Devin Tsai and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
An old bridge in Miaoli County is getting a facelift, but it's not to everyone's liking. Eric Gao has this story as well.
These workers are installing supports onto Longteng Bridge in Taiwan's northern Miaoli County. Built in 1907, the structure used to be the highest and steepest rail line in the country. But it was heavily damaged in an earthquake in 1935 and then again in 1999. Though no longer in service, it's since become a popular tourist attraction. To make sure it doesn't suffer more damage, the local government is reinforcing the bridge. But not everyone is thrilled with the new look.
古迹不是说不能修复、不能维护，只是说你要添加的东西还是要遵照古法 再来修复，这才是真正我们原来的古迹。
古迹上面不能再修复或者养护的，不能增加任何的建物。我们家那么大。
Local officials say the work is necessary to keep both the bridge and visitors safe.
防止断桥大面积、大体积的崩落，然后危及就是附近用路人的安全，所以才会进行这个加固工程。
Officials also stress that these new additions aren't necessarily permanent.
再经过个几年，假设有更好的方法或技术出现的时候，现在做的东西可以被拿掉，而不会去危及它的价值跟安全。
The reinforcement work is scheduled to finish in August. To calm some of the pushback over the clashing styles, officials say the finished structures will be painted black so they're not as obvious. John Su and Eric Gao for TaiwanPlus.
French street artist Jourdain Saget painted a work outside the Chiang Kai-shek Memorial Hall in Taipei's Liberty Square. Members of the public looked on as Saget created the work in chalk and paint. The intricate curved white pattern showed off his signature three lines style. The Paris-based artist has produced over 2,000 pieces around the French capital. He said his creation at Liberty Square is a gift to the people of Taipei. Waste not, want not. Taiwan's state-owned aerospace company has teamed up with florists to produce eye-catching art installations. Their materials? Scrap that was originally destined for the incinerator. Jeremy Olivier has more.
One person's trash, another's treasure. Building airplanes is a very precise business, but it produces a lot of waste materials, much of which gets incinerated. Taiwan's Aerospace Industrial Development Corporation knows this all too well. The state-owned company develops parts for many of the country's commercial and military aircraft. Recently, it partnered with 10 local florists to turn scrap materials from its production process into elaborate works of art. The pieces combine the scraps with chunks of camphor wood and dragon juniper, as well as fallen leaves. Their unique designs have caught the eye of local residents.
那材料分开看的话，其实是蛮冲突的。它把它设计成一个地景装置艺术的话，其实是没有违和感。我觉得不错哎，很创新。
很创新，这个有点超出大部分的装置艺术的想象。
These installations are a reminder that, with a little imagination, even what we think of as waste can be given new life and meaning. Andy Xue and Jeremy Olivier for TaiwanPlus.
Students in China have developed a robotic kissing device that lets couples send affection through their phones. The idea was born out of pandemic lockdowns and shows how the power of intimacy and some silicone can make a difference. Jaime Ocon reports.
This device is called the Long Lost Touch. Developed by a group of students in China, these robotic lips let users send kisses through their phones.
能够进行一些信息语言上的交流，但它可能就没有办法达到一种感官触摸上的一种反馈和交流。那希望就能填补线上的这么一个触摸这样的一个领域，让它更加的丰富。
The inspiration for this device came from the COVID-19 pandemic, when China's government put heavy restrictions on people's movements. Months of lockdowns left many couples separated. Just 2 weeks after the device was released, they sold over 3,000, with orders for another 20,000. Some couples say the device does help, especially in long-distance relationships.
我女朋友也在北京，但是呢，她经常出差，所以我们经常有时候会见不到。然后我觉得这个东西就可以填补我们见不到的时候，它可以作为一个调味剂的一样的存在。
But not everyone feels the same way about the long-lost touch.
我觉得没什么作用，而且买这种东西我觉得蛮变态的，根本不能解决什么异地，还不如视频，每天跟对象视频还有用一点。
China has declared the pandemic over, and most couples are free to reunite. Now, they'll have to decide whether to kiss this device goodbye. Eason Chen and Jaime Ocon for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching. Here's what happened. I'm Philip Brossard. Take care and see you next week.